if we get to look at like this Ning thing today, but this hole here is it's not a hole, it's a bubble, like kind of like the raison d'etre, like
why we're doing it,
what we're doing, why we're doing it, who are we, what are we. So that's kind of this bit, and that's, we've got to get that clear between ourselves.
Because
and then for that to communicate onto the...
My reasons are slightly different from yours.
Yeah, well, we could look at that now and then...
But they are combinable.
Yeah.
Actually, if you dig down deep enough, they are the same.
Yeah.
I think our approaches are slightly different.
Yeah. So this is like... if I just call that like communication flow, because that's all we're just like looking at there. And that's this is your top-down thing.
Sorry, explain that.
This is like, how do we get to the people in order to get them here? So this is you kind of going, well, you know all the people you think are going to be either using the blog or have computer.
It's basically getting through to
access.
OTs, care workers.
Hang on then.
The primary care workers, basically.
OTs.
Right. Healthcare professionals and covers it all, really. Okay. The care workers are directly working with the people, service users.
Yeah.
And they are, even if they're not connected internet home at work, they're on the intranet.
Yeah.
And most of the stuff that I do tend to try to get it out through the intranet as well. Actually, I haven't done all of that recently because I've not had that much communication with Naomi. Normally it's Naomi that puts it up onto the intranet, or she passes it onto the communication team.
Naomi volunteered, Naomi?
Yeah.
Okay.
Because it's usually been just Ucroft photography stuff, and I'm volunteered through her.
Oh, so you get your stuff to Naomi and she puts it on the
every month I put up the Ucroft photography form. I used to put it up and pass it around as an update to the Ucroft group that I've got in my email list, and they're mainly most of the addresses are trust site addresses, the people who work for the trust. And Naomi was a person who genuinely passed it on to the communications team and says, can you put this on the internet? And she'll pass that information on to me. It's a copy of that email back to me, and there'll be me clicking on the trust site, which is an intranet site address, and I can't get on it. And I always end up doing it, but she's just letting me know that it's gone on there, so people know it's there, so they can pass that information on to service users.
Yep.
Whether it's getting to these service users. Well, actually it is. We had a new guy come in last week on the Wednesday group. Tom, his name was. He was standing next to us, he'd introduced himself. I got a call from Zena, and she goes, there's somebody looking for you. His name's Tom. I didn't click. She described him, didn't click, and she goes, well, I'll get back to you. And she went off. And then we're talking away, and about 20 minutes later, it clicked. That's who she was looking for. And he got somebody at his day centre had mentioned my group. Then his care worker phoned up Zena, or his parents, or whoever, because he's a young guy. Zena got in touch with me, passed on the details, he'd come along, and I'm hoping to see him again next month. So that's how I'm seeing the information get through. It's from the top down, now I know what you meant by top down.
But any convoluted and potentially like really complicated.
And not knowing whether it's getting there or not.
Yeah.
And it did take people, like when Zena could find, she was calling somebody to call somebody, and then finally he got a call, but by that time we'd already sorted out, because I'd called Zena back and said, he's here. And so, potentially it can be
hit and miss. So at the moment I've got that these top-down people are your OTs, your primary care workers, healthcare professionals. They're working directly with service users, by which we know we mean mental health service users. They may have, or they're likely to have, a home PC. They're likely to have a PC at work and have some computer knowledge or internet experience. They may also be using internet at home for social media like Facebook and Twitter. So that's who we're...
aiming at this point in time.
That's that level. and then
there are service users.
I'll
that
redraw this.
Yeah. There are service users that do use computers and stuff, but I'm not sure how many of them use social media sites. I mean, there's a few that we know that we interact with on a regular basis.
What might they be using computers for then?
Emails.
Email,
Yeah.
generally.
I mean, Robert, who was a beneficiary on the Buzzing Around project that I was involved in, he's got a computer. We spent quite a lot of time, me, Jag and Zena, fixing that computer for him together. And basically he surfed the net a little bit. I think he doesn't shop on there. He just emails.
Yeah.
And keeping in touch with people, and that's about it. It's very light computer use. It's getting, I wouldn't say technophobes as such, but the technology does scare some of these people because it's something they've never used.
Sure. And this is kind of what I was talking about at the surgery on Wednesday, because I was being asked, like, well, where are these people? How do you get the information out to people? How are you sharing the stuff? So the main interface really then is our monthly creatives meetings.
Yes.
So it's face to face. And the email. It's people are still relying on the email.
With the creative also we get through by snail mail.
Yeah.
Because there's a snail mail mailing list, and that's for the events that go on.
Yeah.
But that's all the information they get. But then again, we could add information about, like, if we did set up small little starter classes for computers.
Absolutely.
Which Jag, I think, would even get involved, because he has really nothing to do most Thursdays. You know, when he's there, it is quiet.
I don't know, Jag.
Oh,
do you know him well?
Blip art. Yeah, I've got to know quite well.